Hey there, everyone. Patty D here, your coach and strategist. Today with Nicole Nelson, who is an image consultant extraordinaire. She is the founder of Threads Northwest. She's sassy as all get out, a spiritual human being for sure, sees the beauty in everything. I get to call her a friend of mine. Nicole, thanks so much for being here with me on the show.
Yay! Thank you for inviting.
So here it is. The show is all about redesign, right? I love talking to entrepreneurs, thought leaders, people that are moving and shaking in a different way, and quite honestly, creating their way. And it's an interesting time. I mean, we're hearing that over and over again, right? It's an interesting time that we're in, but we have come so far to give up on who we are. And we're not going to be going back to the old ways. So really what I thought about asking you from right out the gate, since there's so many social changes going on, how is that going to change our image?
Well, it's definitely a big one because I feel like we're ever evolving already as our identities are evolving and now our image is evolving. And what does that look like when we can step out of our doors again and go into the workforce? Or are we even going to be allowed to be, back into a business atmosphere? With my line of work, I have found that even being at home, that self-image is really being dialed and honed into our true authentic selves, for the greater and the higher good of everyone. I think there's been a lot of time to sit down and self-reflect, and what does that look like individually, so that we're not really connecting as, oh, I want to look like, so-and-so, or when I go to work, I, have to put on this mask, or, we all wear different hats every day.
Right.
But we have been given the privilege, and it's hard to say that because I think a lot of us kind of have a sour taste in our mouths with what's going on at the state, with the stay-at-home order, feeling like, what the heck, is this reality? But it's a gift. It's a gift in itself to be able to self-reflect, take a minute,
Right.
meditate on that, and really step into your own awareness. And what does that look like for you?
And where is the authenticity? Like, where is the truth for you? And aligning with that, because here it is, everyone. I met Nicole years ago, and she was not the founder of Threads Northwest at the time, but she was thinking about like making the break and taking the jump, the leap of faith, let's just say. And you know what you did? And I remember when you were going through that process, and here it is, Nicole, if I can plant any seeds at all to give people a little bit of courage, that permission to dream, that permission to, like, you know what, I am going to do this, and I am going to take action on this. So talk to us a little bit about that transition, because there's fear there.
Yeah.
Of course there's fear there. There always is, but you also love what you do so much that I'm certain there was a lot of courage there as well.
Yeah. So for me, my passion is people. My passion is the beauty in all. It doesn't matter if I'm at the grocery store, if I'm in my element within a boutique, if I'm at your house, if I run into you. I mean, I've had my own personal doctors hire me. It's seeing them as their whole that I love. And that is what I would like to project out once we're able to kind of break free of this little cocoon that we're in, that everybody's at their highest vibration, that they're able to create the life that they've always wanted. And what does that look like? Fully empower them, men and women, to trust in themselves and to, be able to step out into the world and say, hey, this is the new me, this is the new you, whether or not we can shake hands or we have to fist bump or knee bump, whatever that looks like, but really working together. Again, when I say my passion is people, as you know, my line of work is going into clients' homes, going through their
And
closet.
she came into my home, everybody.
Yes, I did a
A
couple times.
couple of times.
Yeah. And, going into their closets, pulling out everything that they own at one time. So it's ripping the Band-Aid off. It's not saying, let's just go make a couple outfits or we need to go buy something. It was really dialing in you and pulling it out, going through each individual piece and editing that down to, the specifics, the ones that fit you the best, the ones that look the best on you, that are flattering, that you feel good in, and are effortless. That in itself does so much for someone, right? Well, like, when you woke up and all of your hangers were the same and everything was hung.
So beautiful.
Yes. And
oh my gosh, it feels so good.
And it's beautiful in my closet.
Right. So you mentioned so many things that I'm going to touch upon. And I just want to go to this first place. You mentioned vibration and feel good. So we all know, you and I abide by the universal law of vibration.
Yeah, it's contagious.
It is. And talk about the transformation that you see people go through with your business.
So that transformation is really magical. And I can't stress enough, to a new client who hasn't experienced this yet, saying they are a little apprehensive to have me come over. They're like, oh, well, my closet isn't, it's not put away correctly, or I haven't gone through my clothes. So, walking them through that stage of, that's my job. We're going to pull everything out. Don't worry. Then we come in, I take my shoes off, so I'm barefoot. I don't even like socks. And I start pulling everything out, and we start looking at what you have. And what people don't realize is it's not just clothes on my rack, but these are events, emotions,
stories,
history. I mean, it's okay. Well, I've had this dress and I've only worn it one time, but I went to Aunt Faye's funeral and I can't get rid of it because I've worn it once. Then me coming back saying, okay, well, it served its purpose, giving the permission that if you don't feel like you'll ever wear it again, let's let it go. It's done.
Right.
And it takes about 4 hours for our first initial closet consultation, right? And it's in stages. The first stage, again, like I say, we pull everything out. We're looking at it all. You try it all on. And usually clients kind of hide behind their chair, or they go into the bathroom, or they'll, whatever. But by the end of it, they could care less. They're
right.
They're like,
that's right.
Bodies, let's go. And that's when the true magic starts to happen, when our barriers are broken down and we start realizing, wow, I've been holding on to these things because of uncertain reasons that now I see clear, and I'm ready to let it go. And I say, thank you for the opportunity to be able to have gone through this, and now I'm ready to move forward. And we let it go, or we repurpose it, which in itself is a rebirth.
True. Right. Yeah.
And just being able to see women and men, because I've worked with men now, which is
that's cool.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
They to see how clothes fit them, and how they're not going into their closet blindedly every day saying, I have a closet full of clothes and nothing to wear. They're walking in there going, I can't wait to get ready. I can't wait to get dressed. I am eager to wake up and get out the door. My favorite analogy is, if you think of your body as a battery pack, when you go to bed at night, you recharge and you wake up and you're 100%.
Right.
So by the time you get out of your bed, you've already made your coffee, brushed your teeth, thinking of all the things you have to do. Now you have to go get dressed. And if there's pieces in there that are holding you up, per se, like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds before I get into that. or I just, I love that shirt, but I've already wore that with this outfit. So, you're already depleted your battery pack before you've even
Some sort of condition. They're
yeah,
putting some sort of condition on it, right? That's not helping them.
right. So you're depleted down before you're ready to even execute the day when you really need that energy. So again, we go back to that vibration, right?
Right.
I go in there, and when I leave, you are going to still be at 100% when you walk into that closet. You're going to say, yes, I may only have X amount of clothes now, but they all work. And now we're ready to get dressed and move forward. And then we can start adding and building to that.
The beautiful thing about the experience with Threads Northwest and having you come over here really was you gave me the permission to be sassy.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that was, I know we both remember it, like that was so fun. And it's interesting how at times, not at times, like for most of the time, we don't give ourselves the permission.
Right. Well, and
And
it's not
and
only that,
you
we get hung up on what everybody else might think. And that's kind of, again, coming back full circle to right now, having to be in your home, being yourself. You can put on anything you want that you have worn. I don't care if it's your prom dress, just to see how it fits. Make coffee in it. You, if you want to wear that today, you
right.
should wear it. There's no law that says you can't.
Right. Gosh, that's so true, because here it is. It's a sense of play that we had when we were kids.
Yes.
Playing dress up. You don't play dress up when you're a little bit older. I mean, I live in jeans and a t-shirt, and quite frankly, I could have as many listeners out there send me as many t-shirts as they possibly want to. But, it feels normal,
Yeah.
right? But we are now busting out of the normal. What is normal anymore? And that was why I wanted to start with the sense of image that everyone is having right now. You can be at work right now with a shirt and tie and a pair of pajama pants on.
Right.
Who knows? But you know what? If you're dressed for the day, and you said this to me before, if you're dressed for the
so I was like, I am going to go to work without shoes on today.
Oh my God. And she did work today, by the way, everyone. So and since I mentioned that, let's go there, because you had to power pivot, right? You will come into someone's home.
Yes.
You will go through their closet. You will touch their things. You will bring things in, hangers, rods, whatever, believe me, everyone, it's a production. It's a lot of fun. And quite honestly, you'll feel great afterwards. You just feel so great. But how have you pivoted with this new norm that we are now facing? Because I would suspect all of this you can do online. I know that you can. Everyone else is working online. So talk about that.
Yeah, so that was kind of my my one no. When I was first branching out, everybody said, well, you can sell online, you can, do closet consultations online. And for me, I'm a very personable person, and I wanted it to be more of an intimate connection. Because when I come in, it's not just a stylist, right? That's why I use that term very loosely. It's an image consultant. It's an overall production. It is mind, body, and soul all together. Because when I come in and I ask you, I'm like, okay, Patty, so, what is your life look like? What are we dressing you for? And I know that you're like, I don't remember saying this, but you were like, I want to meet a man. I'm like, okay. So,
and I met a dog.
Well, you met a dog that was tied to a man the same day. So,
guys, I'm not going to edit this, but what she's saying is so true. I went walking out in my little black skirt that she made me put on, and before you know it, there was Fritz going right up my skirt.
Yep, absolutely. So with that, it was, I dragging my feet to be online, and this has really made me have to do that. And I even thought, well, I'll just wait it out and I'll stay in contact with my clients, make sure that they're doing okay. But
Right.
I had closets scheduled and could not go into their homes because of, this whole stay-at-home order. So I had to learn fast. I had to go out and buy this new computer so that I could do these Zoom meetings with, clients. Just this morning, if I was pulling clothes out of their closets, now they're sending me texts, and now this is their closet that I'm sifting through and I'm making notes on, and I am going through my old pictures that I have taken of their outfits prior to, and resourcing all this into their closets. So
That's so cool.
it was a beautiful thing, because this woman, she is CEO of a large hospital, and she said, out of 2,500 employees that are under me, there's only about 4 of us that go to work, and I'm one of them, but I still have to dress, and here's all my new stuff, and how do I change this out? So we did a Zoom this morning where I printed these off, I made notes, and I would come up and say, okay, this shirt right here, I want you to pull this one out, and those other tweed pants, let's put those together. And so she was able to see it on her body. I was able to see it on her body. Her husband took the pictures for me, which I should pull that up for you to see.
Group effort. Well, no, Nicole, that is a power pivot.
Yeah.
Right? Because here it is. We can make excuses about starting a business. We can make excuses of why the business didn't work, and plenty of them fail. I happen to know that from, some of my own direct experiences, but you keep getting up and you keep aligning with what you want to create for yourself. And it's interesting because I'm going through exercises now that we have this time. I'm taking myself through exercises to see what changes happen within me. And then guess what? If it's happening within me, I know that I can help you through it as well. Right? I mean, everything that I preach, I've gone through, and my life has been uniquely different and plenty of challenges, but where there's challenge, there's support, right? We live in a world of duality. You can't have one without the other. It's impossible. It's impossible to have the beauty without the ugly. That's just right. I mean, it's the way that it is. But trusting in the universe, which I know you and I both have in spades, right? I mean, without a doubt, like that's the number one, is having trust in yourself and also your higher directive, right? So how do you connect with your higher self and knowing like what's the best thing for you to do for you today, and what's the best thing for you to do for your business?
I would say that it has definitely been a journey, because I used to somewhat dismiss that the inner self, right? So now if it doesn't feel good, I ask, it's my first initial response. I don't have time to think about it. It's just a yes or no. And that is typically dead on. So if it doesn't feel right, then I don't go for it anymore. If it feels great, I jump on that wagon as fast as possible. And it's trial and error half the time, but I will tell you that it's always worth it in the end. Because again, the self-doubt, well, shall I really, walk away from a career that I was in for 17 years and jump off this cliff into, an unknown territory? Nobody was doing what I do. And I hemmed and hawed over so many years of that, because I wasn't listening to what really felt good. And this is what makes me passionate and excited. And knowing that once you take that leap, if it's in alignment, the puzzle pieces, they just come and they stack, and it makes a full, picture for you.
They do. And, and it's the alignment, going back to that alignment again. If you're feeling good, If you're feeling on fire, guess what? Pay attention.
Yeah.
Change knocking at your door.
Yes, it is. It's becoming fully aware. I believe that, this is a time of coming into our own awareness and being, connected to the now rather than always future planning and like what that looks like in our 10 year and our 20 year and when we retire. It's like, what is the now? Because I mean, today's society, we see that there may not be a tomorrow. We could get sick and in 14 days be hospitalized, and who knows after that, right?
Right.
So it's just doing what you can to your fullest and highest best to step into your own power and then executing that.
Claiming it. It's a claim. And, with the inner work and having this time, which you've mentioned is a gift, right? There is time to sit down and do the exercises to allow yourself to dream.
Yeah.
Right. What have you been putting on the side shelf? What have you been hiding from? I mean, do you think for a second I thought that I would ever, start a YouTube channel? Like here it is, Jersey, no effing way. Like, I mean, I would have been like far too shy for that. But it's like, I am getting to reach out. It's the perfect camera. I'm getting to reach out, to people that I know and love, and to people that, I don't know and I love, right? Because in the end, it's in the information and it's in the knowledge and in that sharing of it that's going to bust us out and take us someplace else. Because you know what? We all are one. We know that universal law number one couldn't be more powerful. We couldn't be living that more. We have never seen this before. And honestly, it gives me goosebumps. It's like, everyone is going through this together and everyone is getting clued into the fact that we are one, right? And here, vibration, don't know where that would fall in the universal laws, but vibration most certainly being one of the most important to pay attention to when you feel right about it, when you don't, when you're kind of like, so. And you know what, speaking of which, we're going to go there because you almost opened up a brick and mortar.
Yeah, I did. And it has been a long time coming. Clients have asked me to open up brick and mortar for years. I've personally, it has been my goal to open up one. So, because I have 2 daughters and that was like my legacy to leave for them. They're both old to work in one. And I thought, now's the chance. And, I've signed papers on a lease that in a space that I want. I've gone down to LA Fashion Week. I've, placed orders. And I still haven't put the money down. It was like placing orders. Are you ready? No, not yet. I don't have a specific day of opening. Then it was, okay, what do you want your space to look like? And just something wasn't resonating quite right. It just, I don't know how else to put it, but I just didn't feel like now was the time. And it is interesting because, as you know, my boyfriend gets on me and he was like, oh my gosh, Nicole, like everything is here. It's ready. Why are you not executing this? I'm like, I don't know. It just,
because you're paying attention.
I had no idea what was coming. I just can't explain that it didn't feel good yet. I didn't feel super excited and super comfortable to jump into that and go, here I am, even though I had a date, a time, a place, and all. And then thank goodness that I didn't, right? Because be paying on a lease, an empty space, and waiting on some kind of unemployment, if ever.
Well, now think about this, Nicole, because let's just go with the hypothetical at this point. So you were ready to go with the brick and mortar, have the shop. And I know so many people that would be excited about that. Like I said to everyone, like you are an entrepreneur, like you're moving forward, you're striving it. But now with the way that things are currently, do you think you'll open up a brick and mortar?
That's a great question. you know. I have all the rolling racks out in my garage, and I have done the research for years on the products that I personally want to carry because I believe in these brands. They're not overseas brands, they're here in the United States brands. They're beautiful,
Beautiful.
lovely.
Right.
Does
Love
brick
it.
and mortar make sense, or do I do a Zoom with clients who want to book an appointment and host it here? You know, let me show you what I have. I know fit. I can send it to you. I don't know what that looks like quite yet, but I do know that every day is evolving. Every
Right.
day something else is changing, and I'm becoming a little bit more you know, eager to share those pieces. And it's kind of like a pregnancy, you know, when you never
Yep.
know when your water's going to break, but when it does, it's time. So
I don't know that one.
yeah, let me tell
I don't know that one from personal experiences, but I've birthed a lot of other things.
you. Exactly. If you know anything about birthing, well, it's just on that time, not yours. So
Right.
mhm.
Careers, and more careers. I've placed more people than I know. You know, life coaching, it most certainly is helping people through the transition of change. I most certainly feel like that's been my middle name, right? And it's also, you know, what I'm drawn to. You were going through change when I met you. I so remember the day
Mhm.
because honestly, like Lily was a great shop, is a great shop. I'm sure still, you
Totally.
know, but when you were there, quite frankly, it wasn't the same.
Mm.
So I didn't frequent, you know, after you left very much. But I also want to support you, right?
Yeah.
Just like I want to support the gal who was selling flowers down at the farmer's market that wasn't happening today, right? Because she was there, she showed up, I was walking by and I'm like, beautiful, someone showing up. And that's probably, you know, one thing to mention to people out there is that not only do you have to like show up for yourself first and foremost, but you have to show up for other people as well. Like, do you want to be of service? I most certainly want to be a benefit. I want to be a benefit to whomever I come in contact with. Like for you, you most certainly help bring out the best in people in such a fun way, you know, giving them the confidence, giving them their permission, helping them let go, and doing that while you're building your business. It's fabulous.
Well, thank you.
Right? I mean, you have to feel good about it because you're offering something that's innately you, right? We're all our own snowflake, you
Yeah.
know,
And
right?
sometimes it's hard to see that print, right? Like you,
So
I
true.
can see everybody else, but I have a hard time seeing my own snowflake per se. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like-minded, being able to, again, like, you know, the name of my company is Threads Northwest, and we discussed, you didn't realize that it wasn't just threads meaning clothing, but it was threads through the network and the community and the ties and the interwovenness of all of us is the reason why it's called Threads. It all
Mm-hmm.
comes full circle back again. And so, me being able to see their true self and who they really want to be, pulling that out on their outside and letting them step into that, it's kind of the same as you. You see their best career placing in their own, you know, their vibration of what makes them happy, and then saying, okay, now it's time to fly. And
It's magic.
it is magic, total magic.
There is magic in the everyday.
Hmm.
We just are asleep and just don't notice it. I love pulling out and going for a ride on the magic carpet.
Yeah, hey, me as well. And that's what I was saying. I really feel like this is a rebirth. This is our chance
Yeah.
to be awake, to be conscious of what is really going on in our own, you know, our own circle, our own lives. And not just being, you know, sardines, right? Swimming in the same freaking swimming pool and following the leader. It's okay, who makes Nicole? Who makes you? Who do I really want to be, my authentic self, so I can be better at going out there and doing my own magic.
Nicole, I often talk about the inner work.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing the inner work, I can honestly say, since my mom passed, which was, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And I am not the same person. My core is the same, right? The sweetness, the Jersey sweetness is still there. But and I know what I do, for me and for others that want to work with me. But what do you do for the inner work? What would you feel comfortable in sharing?
Well, you know me, nothing's off the table. So I share a little bit of everything. And I have done some crazy inner work. And just to give a little background to who I am, I think I've dabbled in a little bit of all religions, right? So I was baptized Nazarene. My dad was raised Catholic and in fact was going into the Catholic priesthood at a young age. He is part Native American, and so he then branched off, and my upbringing was he was an eagle dancer up in Goldendale. So he, Native American, we have Catholic, we have, Nazarene, I've pretty much seen it all, and all of it comes down to source. What is the greater, higher source?
Love that word.
Right. So I don't care what you want to call it.
Right.
I love Jesus and I pray as well, but source at the end of the day is all of the names and everybody tied together and our own bodies being tied to that. And so for me to really dive in to what my connection was, right? My higher plumb line.
Yeah, it is about the plumb line.
A lot of work. Because I had a lot of sores, emotionally, as we all do.
Scar tissue.
But one thing I will tell you that I recently worked on was that I had a lot of health issues, and I was diagnosed with a pituitary tumor. And
I didn't know that, Nicole.
It was a big deal. And the pituitary tumor was, it was actually creating some vision loss. I had major headaches. I had gained a lot of weight. I couldn't, it tied into even not, when I had my children, it didn't dilate, all hormonally. Well, I went and saw this amazing woman. Her name is Samantha Brown, or by Samantha Blossom, and she does bodywork sessions.
I'm reaching out to her, or I should say I already have,
and
right?
She is magical, so magical in her own, but I will have to admit, when I first started going to her, I thought, okay, so I'm going to lay on this table and you are going to tap into my source, my own body vibration, and you are going to talk to my body? All right. So here I am forking out this money thinking, what are you doing, Nicole? This is a crock of crap. And I'm literally like laying on the table, and then she's like, okay, we get done and I leave. And she calls me like a day later. She's like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm really fucking crabby. And I just, I don't know, but she's like, well, it takes time and you may not know what you're going through. And she walks you through it. So I sign up again. And I actually go to her 3 times. And I do have to admit that I was very, I didn't know if I would believe it or not, or if the change was really just me. I mean, it's all new, right? So I get this call from my doctor and they say, well, Nicole, your labs have been a little off, so we need to do another pituitary scan.
Okay.
Okay. So I go in and my doctor prescribes me these, it's a tumor shrinking pill that they typically give for cancer patients and whatnot. And I place the order. I have the pills in my hand. And again, it goes back to, does this feel good or does this not feel good?
Right.
I'm like, ooh, I don't feel like I want to take these. So I don't take the pills. And I'm scheduled in 5 days to go and have this scan of my pituitary tumor. and I go and see Sam the day before I have the scan. So now I'm laying on the table and I don't say anything. She has no idea that I have a scan coming up, but she does know of my pituitary tumor. She does know that I've had thyroid issues and other things.
Right.
So I'm laying on the table and I'm really, like, I really go out under, right? Almost in this meditative state. And she kind of wakes me up and she's like, well, we're done. And I look at the clock and I tell her, well, okay, because I'm like 20 minutes short and you pay for the session.
Sure.
She's
Okay.
like,
Right.
it is new and healed and it is done. And I'm thinking, well, I better come out of here never needing Botox. I better have like, all this crazy stuff. Okay. So again,
no one's getting Botox these days, by the way.
No. So I leave and then I go and have this scan done. And, the scan was done on a Wednesday and typically they won't call me until that following Monday with results. But I get a phone call the next day on Thursday from my doctor at about 7:45 in the morning, which is before the clinic opens. And she calls me next day, which I know is typically not good news in my previous history.
Right. Sure.
So I answer the phone and I'm like, hello? And she says, so Nicole, I've read over your scan about 3 times this morning. And I'm like, okay. And
oh my gosh, it was good news.
And she says, there's no tumor.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And she said, I even called the radiologist. I'm like, it's my name on the scan though, right? Because I've had this thing for 10 years. 10 years. It's not, hasn't gone anywhere. And she says, I don't know what to say. She goes, but continue taking the pills because
the placebos that would be.
Yeah. And I'm like, so I break it down to her and I'm like, I have not taken the pills. And she's speechless, has nothing to say. She's like, I don't know. It's gone. Like it's literally gone. And this is my body talk session. These are working with Sam, working with myself, diving in, going through the motions. Like I left angry every time.
Sure. Right.
Like, that vibration.
5 stages.
That vibration of hurt, those things that we hold on to and we don't, deal with, that creates havoc within our own temple, our body.
Absolutely. It's the past. I'm going to say it practically in every podcast that I do. The past just trips us up. Anything that you can't say thank you to is tripping you up.
Right.
Life is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. We're living in a world of duality. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Nicole, but it's just and it's interesting because I remember, a friend of mine, he's moved to California and we met in Hawaii. And this just cracks me up because he was asking me about my upbringing and my parents. And I literally stone cold. It was like, I'm not talking about that. Yeah. Guess what happens? It's going to find you at some point in time. And here it is. Everyone that I know has some sort of dysfunction that's, but if you put a blind eye to it and don't deal with it, you will have to deal with it at some point. And I most certainly am glad that I've been dealing with it along the way because I love me.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed to look in the mirror and going like, God, I'm really pretty today. Or, frick, I look good. I've been working out. Yeah. Or I'm aging gracefully. Look at this beautiful gray hair. We've never been able to say that. We've had to mask it and hide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bringing that forward going, yes, it's not a bad thing to have a little vanity when it comes to yourself, your own being. I know I take pride in my garden. I spend a lot of time making it beautiful. And when somebody says, wow, you have a beautiful garden, I'm like, thank you.
Thank you.
So why can this not be your beautiful garden? Why can you not take pride in yourself? and be,
So love that.
and gloat a little bit about that. And
Well, I mean, it's the doing the inner work is investing in yourself. And yes, really what it comes down to is, taking the time to do it and trusting it in yourself and knowing that you're going to know what to do for you, because you can spend money on a lot of people, but quite frankly, if they're not doing it, guess what? It's just like words that are falling flat, and I'm as real as they come. And what's just so great about this conversation, Nicole, and it's something that I was going to hold off for another podcast, but the podcast, really, I woke up one day and just said redesigning work in a new paradigm, because it is about redesign. We are in a new paradigm, whether you know it or not. And I'm hoping that more people are hip to that than one would think. I really hope that people are not operating with the delusion that things are going to go back the way that they were, because there's so much that this pandemic is going to cause a ripple effect. But I have been talking to a good friend of mine that I'm just so thankful to be able to call her my friend, and she's also my spiritual teacher, from time to time. And this podcast is now going to be named Jersey Girl Go Spiritual.
that Jersey
and
here. So.
and here it is, as spiritual beings walking in this material world, we do work. Mm-hmm. How do you want to design it? Is it a redesign? Is it like designing from fresh? Like, how do you want to show up for yourself? How do you want to show up for the world? Where do you need inspiration and support? Will you face challenges? We know you will. Mm-hmm. I did. I still will. So will you.
Will. Yeah, we always will.
That's right. But if you understand, that universal law of duality, you cannot have one without the other. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. So if you're feeling challenged, where are you having that support?
Right. Well, see, and that's the thing, is that, like I teach my girls that, if you're feeling challenged, that's growth. It's
exactly,
it's coming out. I mean, if you think about it, my favorite is the butterfly, a beautiful butterfly that is crawling on the earth as a
blue butterfly, by the way.
A blue butterfly that is crawling on the earth as a caterpillar first, and then goes into, its chrysalis stage. But if it doesn't go through that growth process, that really painful growth process of pushing through the chrysalis so that it could get all of, the energy through its wings and the blood flow, and that it will never fly. You can't help it, or it doesn't. And so for me, I have fallen down, scrape my knees so many times, I just dust them off and get going, that it doesn't necessarily scare me anymore. But I had to get to that point. I have been scared, and I am, forever growing and learning. And it's always this challenge of, okay, so what does it look like today? I mean, doing this came to me last night when she said, I need you. I'm like, I will print all these off. Here I am making all these notes while I'm laying in bed to make sure that, as we get on.
You're prepared, right? You're prepared.
In that. But I have never printed off pictures of people's clients or their closets before,
Sure.
So it's that change in learning. Yeah.
Nicole, so good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Honestly, we could go on and on, but I want to ask you before we begin to wrap up. Is there anything that you feel we need to touch upon? I mean, I know that I could talk to you again and again, but for the sake of time, because I know people have a short attention span.
Of course.
Yeah. What, I mean, we talked about vibration and trust and letting go, the inner work, having the permission, please, dear God, don't make excuses. Like, be a step ahead of your mind and where it's taking you. Cause I'm going to tell you, it's going to want to take you right to the sofa where you're comfortable.
I know. I know. And that's okay too. If you have those days, you can give yourself permission to do that as well. I don't,
True that.
you know,
True that.
I don't feel like any of these days you have to get up, get dressed, and go like we were doing before. If you feel like today I need a day of rest, take a day of rest.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, the one, I guess the one point that I can't stress enough is to invest in you, right? We've said that a couple
Love
of
it.
times, and that's my tagline. I'm like, by hiring me, that's investing in you. By you taking time to sit down
Right.
and say, hey, who am I? What do I want to feel like? Who do I want to be tomorrow? Invest in that space, in that, whatever that looks like that you've been lagging and needing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Love it.
yeah.
And when Nicole says investing in yourself, she's not talking, and I'm not talking about money.
No.
We're talking about working with what you have,
Yeah.
because you have everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you need. You have the answers if you ask the bigger questions. You have the knowing if you'll get quiet. And here it is. Nothing will happen in isolation. I know that we're practicing social distancing right now, but I think it needs to be really clear that that doesn't mean social isolation, which a lot of people are isolating themselves. And you know what? It's not healthy.
No, no. And I would also, just with one more thing to wrap up, I think something that you and I had talked about a couple days ago too was being careful for what you project out there. Because again, if you throw a bouncy ball against a wall, what's coming back?
So,
A
right.
bouncy ball. So if you're out there going like, oh my word, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to do this. I don't. Well, guess what? All the I don'ts are going to be knocking on your door, and
Yep.
you're not going to really be getting the gifts that are out there. So every day I wake up and I live in the moment of what it's going to feel like when I do have my brick and mortar someday, what I'm going to do with my vacations, and how I'm going to feel when I'm laying out there in the sand and I'm, FaceTiming one of my clients, because I'm going to be able to do that now. That was never
Yes, you
my
will.
future, and now this has led me to starting a whole nother chapter. So those are the times that where you get up, feel it, really feel what it feels like, and then it will manifest.
Awesome. So beautifully said. I have nothing to add to that because it was perfect. So this is what I want to say to you, everyone that's made it this far and that's listening. I want to say thank you, first off, for spending some time with us. And I want you to know that someone's thinking about you, someone's supporting you. I'm sending lots of love, lots of love. I want nothing but the best for you, for everyone that isn't even listening. I want nothing but the best, because here it is. If we're operating with that, then we can go to sleep at the end of the day and know up we're gonna wake up that next day that much stronger and that much more aligned with what we're here to do, because we're here to create. We're here to grow, and through growth comes pain. They're hand in hand. You're not going to escape it. So if I can ask myself the question, can I live with this? If I do this, can I live with what might not work out? Can I live with that? And you know what? If I can, full steam ahead. So I'm going to stay on the line, Nicole. I'm going to sign off. This is Patty D, your coach and strategist, sending lots of love. Thank you so much for being here, and take good care. Stay close.